Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. What's up, y'all? It's Antonio coming again with another episode of Thus Said the Lord unto me, so such as I have, give I unto thee. This is going to be short. This is going to be a quick little PSA for whom it is for. It is a moment of time that I spy with my little eye type of circumstance. And Lord put something on my heart, and I'm gonna touch it. I'm gonna touch on it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna jump back over here to King David in the high place, which is is the palace, and he is looking down. See, David was supposed to be not tending the sheep this time. Not these sheep. He was supposed to be in. It's funny. Isn't that interesting? It's prophetic if you ever thought about it. So I'll make mention of that because the Lord is giving it to me now. See, this is what I'm talking about. The Lord is giving me something right now as we speak, and I'm gonna share it because He's giving it to me. That you notice that when David was he came from out feeding the sheep. His father sent him to go bring lunch to his brothers, and the brother checked him. Right. What was interesting is that his check was prophetic. Once again, this is how I get it. Y'all actually witnessing how I'm getting it because I'm getting it as we speak. But I see where it's going. The brother said, "Why are you here? Who have you left those few sheep with?" So I know the naughtiness of your heart. That wasn't that version of David that he needed to be talking to. It should have been the David that was standing in the palace. It should have been out there with his men in battle, but instead he was looking down at a meal that wasn't his. Ooh, Lord, I didn't even realize that was. Ooh, Jesus. All right, Lord, I see it. And you gave it to me now, so you know I'm about to share it. So it was intentional. So I get some kind of way when he do that. So he's looking down at this meal that wasn't his, and he said, "Who is this woman? I gotta have her." He was hungry. He was in his flesh. He said, "That's Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah. Send for her." That's not your meal, David. But you are the king. You are the sovereign king. So therefore you took. And you ate. Stop. Let's travel this story all the way back to Miss Eve in the garden. Mrs. Eve. Adam was put to sleep. Adam was in the garden. He was tending the garden, the fullness of the garden. He was naming the animals, exercising dominion over the animals, and he was tending to this garden. That means the trees, that means the flowers, that means all the living things that were in this garden. Adam had dominion over. And because there was none like Adam. See, Adam was naming these animals, and they were in pairs. They had been together. They had offspring. Adam watched the pairs. Okay? said it wasn't good for man to be alone, so he turned around and put him to sleep. Took a little incision in the side, kind of like Jesus on the cross, that incision of the sword or the spear, you know. And out of it came blood and water. Out of it came out a rib. Out of it came out the church. No, out of it came out. I ain't gonna get into that. That's that's revelation, and I apologize if if I'm going too fast. Anyway, out of the side came out Eve, and he said, "Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. I will call her woman." And her name is Eve, and she will be the mother of all living things. Eve means mother of all living things. Now Eve is now with Adam doing the service that God has called them to do, which is to tend to this garden. Intending, I'm sure, that Eve was every woman. She was everyone. I'm every woman. It's all in me. Yeah, it's all in Eve. All right. So she had the nurturing skills, level 100. Okay. She knew the sensitivity of her man. She knew his weaknesses. She knew how to care for all of God's garden because it was in her. Paternal, maternal. Here's the problem. Her name was Eve, mother of all living things. So again, like Adam, who had to wait, and had to continually tend the ground, and there was no spouse for him, there was no blessing for him, had to wait. And then when God decided to do it, he did it. And he created her and brought her forth. Now Eve is out here in this garden, and she's over here looking at this tree. Look at that tree. Look at it. The fruit looks good to the eye. Look at it. And she desired it. And in that moment she became David, because she should have been over there with her husband. Well, her husband shouldn't have been where he was. We just assumed that they were together at the time, but no, they wasn't. But anyway, I digress. There's different people. We can go back and forth with that. She looking at that fruit. She's lusting after that fruit. The lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, the pride of life. Okay, there it is. She desired it. It would make one wise. And then now the serpent comes in. So we get to hear a voice of somebody else in the distance saying that it's this, it's that, and it's the other. So she takes of this fruit and she eats it. And her eyes are open. She gives it to her husband. There's the problem. Alright, so because of that fruit that you see from the distance, that looks good to the eye. And it promises to make one wise. It's good to the eye. Promise to make one wise. She took it. She didn't have to take that fruit. Really didn't. But I assumed that maybe, she wanted to speed up the process. Because afterwards, she was no longer Eve without children. See, she was Eve, mother of all living things, with no kids. But she was nurturer of all living things. And a promise. She was nurturer of all living things. She was in the process. She was in the practice All she had to do was do what her husband did, which was wait. Just wait. She couldn't do it because she kept looking at that tree over there. They would make one wise, and the fruit was good to the eye. So she ate. There's the fall of mankind, and plakao, there's these 2 children that is born out of this, and that's the end. And here we are today, still in that process. More of the story, more of where I was going with all of this. It's a word from the prophets who sang the song, "Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. I know you're going to have it your way or nothing at all. But I think you're moving too fast." That's it. That's all. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. Told y'all I was going to be quick. This is the quickest one I've ever made. But I figured I needed to let that go because there are some who was chasing after things that is above your pay grade. And this is not a reference to myself in any way, shape, or fashion. This is not mean to be spoken with any malice or any type of accusation. And this is just me speaking what he gave me as I spy with my little eye as I'm being about my Father's business. I am still trying to stay in my own lane. And I will do that to the best of my ability. That's it. Y'all have a beautiful day. Enjoy your weekend. I love you with the love of the Lord. And until next time, I'm out.